Good evening or afternoon or morning. My name is Janelle Ott, and I am the instructor of double reeds at Angelo State University. I also teach bassoon at Abilene Christian University, Hardin-Simmons University, and McMurray University. I have been in Dallas since 2009, and I have taught during that time in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as well as in East Texas and West Texas. So I've worked with big city schools, 6A schools in the Dallas area, 6A schools in Abilene, and I've also worked with more rural programs. There are a few things that I tend to see with students from smaller schools that maybe haven't had bassoon lessons before that really get targeted in the technical etude for this year. So those two techniques that we're going to talk about first are half-holing and venting or flicking. Half-holing almost all is considered to be extended technique on instruments that are not bassoon. But on bassoon, it's a very, very normal thing that we have to do a lot. So we use half-holing for the notes F sharp, G, and A flat, both at the top of the staff and above the staff. And the idea is that we're going to use our first finger in our left hand, and we're going to just slide the finger down off the tone hole. This is different from what you would do on oboe, where you're trying to do more of a rock. On bassoon, we slide. Also, because it's not really a fingering, it's a thing we're doing to make the note come out cleanly, the amount of half-hole changes depending on which note you are playing. If you want the note to speak well, so like G is what I would call a normal amount of half-hole. This is literally you're covering up half of the hole. For F sharp, you often need to uncover more of the hole. So it's like a 3/4 hole. And then for A flat, you uncover just a very little bit of the hole. So for both G and F sharp, if the note isn't speaking clearly, uncover more of the hole. If it's A flat and the note's not speaking clearly, you probably need to cover more of the hole. I know it's confusing. This is one of the reasons that bassoon is difficult, but I believe in you. So the very first measure of this piece goes from C to G to E to G. And you might notice that I am adding my left hand pinky. This is the key we call the resonance key. The resonance key helps your G be a little bit better in tune because it tends to be very sharp, but the resonance key helps it stay lower. So like here's G with and without the resonance key. You can hear the difference, I hope. So the first 4 notes, C, E, G, E. And notice I'm putting the half hole back when I'm done. So you don't just keep the half hole, you cover the hole back. The second half of the first measure has you using these keys right here. Now, these keys are called the speaker keys. Individually, they're called the A key, the C key, and the D key, and not all bassoons have the D key on it, but all bassoons should have the A key and the C key. There are a lot of fingering charts floating around that tell you that you do not need to ever use these keys for any reason, and that is untrue. So what we use them for, we call them the speaker keys because they help notes in the higher register speak well. So when I say speak well, what I mean is that it comes out exactly in the octave it's supposed to come out in. You get a similar problem if you try to play G at the top of the staff and you don't half-hole it. So if you don't half-hole it and you just throw more air at it, what is going to sometimes happen is what we call a crack in bassoon, which is that both octaves will try to speak at the same time, like this. That's a good one. You will get something similar if you do not use the speaker keys when you're playing the top notes. Now, if you do not have a D key on your instrument, this etude does have some high Ds. You cannot use the C key on a high D. It will be very out of tune. But what you can do is you can add your right hand 2, 3, 4. So that's your high D fingering if you don't have a D key on your bassoon. That's what you need to do to make sure it will speak very cleanly every time. It doesn't sound the best, but it's clean. And you will get used to it, I promise. So the first measure, C, G, E, G, C, A, F, A. If you are new to the concept of flicking and venting, the main difference between flicking and venting is that. So this is the A key, we use it when we play A. If you're venting, this key will be down the whole time you play A. If you're flicking, you're just going to bump the key when you first start the note, just to make sure that it speaks in the correct octave. I prefer to vent because I think it is the simpler hand technique to use, but both are valid approaches to playing the bassoon. If you're new to flicking and you're having a lot of trouble finding the key, I would suggest that you take either a sticker or a small piece of Scotch tape and put it on one of these keys, not all of them, one of them. It will help your finger find the right key very, very quickly. You can also use your peripheral vision to see where your left hand thumb is while you're playing. Good luck. I'm sure you're going to be great. You can do this.